In the famous words of Hawkeye Pierce, a little adjusted, "Hi, I'm Niko. How do you like me so far?" I'm currently on the ferry crossing over from Horten to Moss. Right now I'm standing outside on the ferry. It's freezing cold, but it's beautiful, so I would like to be out here for just a brief moment. And there was something I wanted to say, because after the video I posted about compassion and how that can lead to self-pity, a buddy of mine reached out to me and asked, okay, that's very interesting, but what about taking care of yourself? Self-care is important, isn't it? Yeah, self-care is important, and there's a lot of things I could say about that. And for my part, and according to this channel's message and vision, when you try to do something, it's really important not to overdo it. It's easy to say, okay, I feel inspired now. Now I want to go out there and I want to do something. And then you do way too much, or you work way too hard, or you push yourself way too much. And then you lose your motivation, and then you go back to the sofa and you just stay put. And lose your motivation is one of the worst things you can do. And for my part, it is all about taking the right steps in the right time, and try not to work too hard. I love to work. That's one of my favorite things. So for me, it's been a long process to find my pace. As I drive trucks, that's not a problem. The trucks goes where it goes, and keeping up the speed limit is not exhausting in itself. But when I do work outside of the truck, it's very important for me to not push myself too hard. And it's very easy for me to compare myself to my co-workers who are perfectly healthy and have a lot more energy and wouldn't suffer the same consequences if they push themselves a little bit too hard. They will be tired in the evening and they wake up next morning and everything is fine and they can keep on pushing. But for me, if I push myself too far, I will suffer from it not only today or this evening, but I will suffer tomorrow and maybe the whole next week or maybe the whole next month. So it's more important to me to keep my own pace, and that's one important thing about self-care. It's also important to learn to say no, because especially when you're working, but also elsewhere, maybe you want to do some guys a favor and you said yes, but then things change and you have to say no, and that's kind of sore, and it's disappointing for those you promised to help. But it's even more disappointing if you have to stay on the sofa for the next 2 months because you were too eager. So you have to find your pace in every aspect of life, and remind yourself, even though if you feel better one day or two, that you're still sick, you still got a chronic illness, and that's not going to disappear just because you work a few days. So it's way better to calm down, and maybe you're able to work 4 days instead of 2, maybe 2 days instead of 1, maybe 2 hours instead of 1, and all that is about feeling. And it's an individual measure, so there's no answer to exactly how much is right. Only you know that. And that's one main thing about taking care of yourself. And it's also finding things you like. If you go to work just because you feel like you need to go to work and you don't like your work, it's easy to lose motivation, and then you're stuck in a loop that only gets you worse. That in a long term, that will also cause the pain to get worse, because mental health and physical health are tightly connected to each other. So take care of yourself, find your own pace, and take care in all the ways you find necessary. And I'm freezing my hands out right now, so I'm gonna shut down. And there's a lot more to say about taking care of yourself, and I'm probably gonna mention that sooner also, but today this is the message. Find your own pace. See you on the next one.
It's not pity, it's the strength we show. We we rise again, time after time. Each one fighting their own battles here. Our heroes with our capes, with a heart that shines. Rise up, you feel the wind against when life tries to drag you down.